I'm a Luxembourgish American. I work at the American University of Paris in the Internship and Career Advising Office as the Director of Experiential Learning. So I'm here today with a special guest to talk to you all about self-marketing. It's an activity that is indispensable to your professional success, but that many people really don't like to talk about. In fact, I'm here to propose an explanation for why a lot of us dread the prospect of self-marketing, to the point that we seem to find it shameful. Once I propose an explanation for why we dread self-marketing, I'm going to share with you all 4 reasons why marketing yourself is not shameful, so that you can hopefully move forward with an open mind and with a better chance of achieving your professional goals. So, let's dig into it. Why do we dread self-marketing? I propose that it's because many of us just don't understand what self-marketing is really about. I spend a lot of time talking about professional success strategies with people. It's actually how I spend about 1/3 of my time at work. I coach self-marketing strategies to students, and that includes both young professionals and mature career changers. That equates to about 500 hours of my time every year. So when I'm in a coaching session, my conversation partner at some point will, when I start talking about self-marketing, almost always they will adopt this sort of hunched posture, sideways glance, low tone of voice combo that makes it feel like we're a couple of criminal conspirators. Why is this subject so taboo? Again, I propose that it's because many of us just don't understand what self-marketing really is. A lot of job seekers mistakenly associate self-marketing with the unsavory practices employed by big bad business to convince people to buy things that they don't need. In fact, many people associate marketing with manipulation. The idea that we've been manipulated into buying something, whether it's a new pair of shoes or a political ideology, makes us cringe. We don't like to feel like we're puppets on a string. And that's totally understandable. But what I am here to argue is that self-marketing is really not like that at all. The process of self-marketing is far removed from the tactics employed by businesses and political parties. Those tactics that involve algorithms, really clever algorithms, and questionable collections of personal data to target hyper-specific audiences with highly targeted messages. Self-marketing is very different from that. It's not unsavory. It's necessary, and it works. Here are 4 reasons why. Reason number 1, self-marketing is really just about knowing yourself. And knowing yourself is actually a very positive thing. It's a process through which you get a much better understanding of who you are as a professional, including your experiences and your aspirations. In fact, to market your professional brand successfully, you have to ask yourself this question. Given what I want to do with my life, my career, the kind of job that I want, what aspects of me and my experiences are going to be the most interesting and relevant to prospective employers? In order to answer that question, you've got to think really critically about the kinds of jobs that you want to apply for. You've got to research them, study them, and then at the same time, you've got to think holistically about who you are as a person, your skills, your qualifications, and even your personality. This self-reflection is going to empower you to create more targeted job applications for the kinds of jobs where you are likely to be successful. Applications where you successfully present the most important information about yourself in the most prominent place. Applications where you effectively force your reader to see what you want them to see, eliminating the risk that the most important piece of info about you is drowned out in the noise of your resume. This might sound really obvious, but I see a lot of resumes, and I can tell you that very few people think with this degree of strategy about how to position themselves in the market. I can't tell you how many times I'm looking at a resume and I find that one piece of information about a person, that one experience that's sure to convince a hiring manager that this is the right candidate for the job. I find that piece of info hidden down at the bottom of a resume, or God forbid on the second page. People who know how to market themselves well because they know themselves well, they don't make mistakes like that. when you know yourself, your job applications become more compelling. Reason number 2 why marketing yourself is not shameful. You are not trying to convince someone to buy something that they don't need. It's completely the opposite. When you apply for a job, you should be reading it and asking yourself, what is it that the employer needs? What problem are they trying to solve by hiring somebody for this position? And then you should be thinking about yourself and asking yourself where their needs and your skills overlap, and then presenting those overlaps in a prominent place. For example, if you're applying to a multinational company, your language skills are probably going to be a huge asset if you speak multiple languages. If you're applying to a small company or a startup, if you've got a really diverse experience, that's probably going to be a huge strength, and you're going to want to highlight it. Maybe you're just great at research and you're applying to work at a company where they're considering diversification into new and uncharted markets. Wherever you find the overlaps, like I said, you should be placing them front and center. You should be presenting them in bold, capitalized, underlined, italicized accent colors, metaphorically speaking. The reality, I guess what I'm trying to say here, is that when you apply for a job and you market yourself well, you're not trying to convince someone to buy something that they don't need. You're simply making every effort to prove to them that what they need is you. Reason number 3, why marketing yourself is not shameful. Hiring managers are very, very busy people, like many of us, and competition for jobs can be really steep. So if your message as an applicant isn't clear, the hiring manager is very likely going to miss your message and move on to the next candidate. Do you know how many people apply on average for any given job? It's 118. 118 people apply for any given job on average. That's a lot. Imagine you're the hiring manager who has the responsibility for sifting through 118 job applications. You would be pretty eager to quickly and easily find a solid shortlist of candidates. As an applicant, if you're sending out resumes where you simply list off everything you've ever done without taking the time to reframe your experiences through a lens that makes it clear how your experiences are relevant for the job, the hiring manager is not going to take the time to do that for you. They're going to move on. So self-marketing is actually an exercise in making your message clear. It's an exercise in perspective taking, where you take on the perspective of a hiring manager. It's like any other form of communication. If you want to be understood, you've got to speak the language of your audience. And in this scenario, your audience is the hiring manager. Reason number 4, the final reason why marketing yourself is not shameful. Self-marketing is not just about talk and packaging. It's also about product development. So, a lot of people, they think that marketing is just a bunch of puff and smoke. A lot of people have the impression that marketing is about slapping on a pretty package or turning a phrase or creating an experience or something like that. A lot of people think it's a little bit of nonsense. But in reality, if you look at the way companies function, you'll notice that marketing and product development often go hand in hand. It's a give and take process. Product development is substantive. It involves identifying a problem or a need and then creating a solution to fill that need. Ideally, your self-marketing strategy will be similar. All of us, whether we're young professionals or old pros, as we make our way through the job market and through our careers, we notice we have strengths and weaknesses. And so, as you pick up on your weaknesses, your self-marketing strategy should include you taking steps to invest in your personal growth. Maybe you do some training or get some more hands-on experience or you get a mentor. But your marketing strategy for yourself should include some product development. In this analogy, your personal product are just the skills and the knowledge that you bring with you to the workforce. So there again, just to reiterate, self-marketing is not just learning how to talk about yourself. That's definitely part of it. But it's also an ongoing process where you're constantly thinking about where you have room to improve and investing in yourself so that you can be more competitive. So, in summation, Self-marketing is not the act of seducing nefariously a prospective employer into hiring you against their better judgment. It is the process of knowing yourself well, of understanding what the needs are of employers, and of investing in your personal development to suit those employer needs all the better. Marketing yourself is not shameful. So what are you waiting for? Permission granted. Go market the hell out of yourselves.